What movie traumatized you when you were younger? Nightmare on Elm Street. It was a Saturday afternoon and my older brother and I went to my aunt and uncle's house with my two cousins. My brother and I were told to go play upstairs while they would watch a scary movie. We did. But then, my bladder got full and I had to relieve myself. The only toilets were downstairs, so downstairs I went. I did my thing and on the way of coming back upstairs, I caught a glimpse of a girl taking a bath and claws rising on the surface. 5-year-old me was traumatized and scared shitless during bath times. I'd ask for a shower instead. E.T. Fucking new age rating. That thing screeches under torchlight while extending its neck to feet into the air and summarily shrieks through a cornfield with sounds a monster makes. Even as an adult this scene makes me feel sick. And then later on the Reese's Pieces bit where it's munching them, feet slapping the floor as it scurries about the house. Had nightmares as a kid of ETs breaking into my house and heard them walking up the stairs, breathing heavily, munching on shit, getting to my room and screeching at me. It is not a U film. 1 to a minimum. The Maze Runner Death Cure. Spoilers ahead. Be warned, I was madly in love with Newt at the time, around 10 or 11, and his death scarred me for life. I will never be able to unsee his tortured, terrified face begging Thomas to shoot him. Chanel characters from real people. So I watched the love of my life at the time dissolve into a flesh-eating monster, 10 get shot in the head 5 seconds before someone showed up with the antidote. I haven't watched that movie since and I don't plan to. I have absolutely no idea what movie was it. But I remember it was a zombie film. A scene where teacher went to class and then started writing on a board. And he was saying something like I am hungry or I want brain. He then went out and the class was happy because of free time. I don't remember exactly how it was though. I just remember the zombies, blood, pig brain, and that it was somehow spreading through coffee, some bad or chemical water. Does anyone have any idea what film it was? It wasn't the movie so much as the prank my older brother pulled later. I was really little and watched Nightmare on Elm Street. I was terrified after. My brother got the Freddy costume for Halloween a couple days later, and I didn't know. He put it on and hid inside my closet until my parents put me to bed. Then he started scratching inside the closet. I opened the door and found Freddy inside my fucking closet. Refused to sleep in my own room for weeks, and he got grounded, lol. Lassie, my mum took me to see it in the theater, and there's this one scene where she saves some stupid kid from drowning and ends up being swept away by a raging river towards rocky rapids. Even though you find out later on that she survived. It was way too much for my 6-year-old brain to handle. There is footage out there that shows how this particular scene was filmed and the poor dog was terrified to get in the tank. No animals harmed in the making of this film, my ass. I was 6 when my parents bought the VHS to tape set of Titanic. 4 years after, I continuously question why anyone, let alone hundreds of people, would willingly die to make a movie. So yeah, not really the movie as much as my stupidity. Good runner-up would be The Green Mile. Rewatched recently, and it's an amazing film, but I'd never show it to a kid. I had to sleep with the lights on because I thought Billy the Kid was coming for me. The Sixth Sense. I watched it when I was 9 or 10. Dude, I lived in an old house with wooden floors. My room was upstairs at the end of the hall, and before you had 2 other rooms with doors facing each other. But they were always open. I always shat myself when I had to cross these doors, always thinking of some ghost going from one room to another. Or an arm catching me. Took me like 6 months to get over it. Halloween 3, I know it's not a light movie in the Halloween franchise, but as a standalone movie, it was quite enjoyable. My cousin and I had snuck into the theater to see it when I was 12, had nightmares for months, and thought the evil guys were around every corner waiting to smush my head in. That first scene in the motel also creeped me out for years. I still watch it at least once a year now. Oddly enough, the 2 that freaked me out the most both had scenes where someone violently lost an arm. Deep Blue Sea, when the scientist lights a cigarette and the shark turns and is like, "Hey Bruce, mind if I get a puff?" The Jackal, when Bruce Willis' character lights up Jack Black after being told the weapon was sighted in Still flinch to this day when I get to those scenes. Misery. It was the first non-supernatural or monster-themed suspense horror movie I'd ever seen. The possibility of those events felt so realistic. I can't remember exactly which part, but there was a particular jump scare that caused me to accidentally blurt out "oh shit" while pulling a comforter over my head. That's the story of the first time I cussed in front of my mum. Jurassic Park, combined with a previous traumatic experience as a toddler in a natural history museum, gave me a phobia that lasted into adulthood. I must have been 4 or 5 when it was shown on TV, and my parents thought I wasn't paying attention as I kept leaving the room. But I was actually hiding in the downstairs loo in terror for my life. I'm quiet when I'm scared. When I was somewhere in my early teens, I came across a horror movie showing on Sci-Fi late at night and decided to give it a try. I was doing okay until the fish people skinned some guy alive, and then all hell broke loose. I was definitely not ready. I think the movie was called Dagon. I've come across it showing on cable since then, but I've never watched it again. Children of the Corn, the 1984 original. My mum took me to see it when I was 12, young. Naive 12. It was summer. We had a farm field behind our house with a full corn crop. Isaac and Malachi were the creepiest, most evil kids ever, and though I'm not overly religious, the church with all the Catholic symbols twisted was creepy. I was very disturbed by it. I was exposed to a lot of unsuitable movies during the glory days of home VHS ownership, but the one movies that burned deep into my psyche was Aliens. I absolutely loved the first 4 movies, and the xenomorphs scare the absolute crap out of me. Even to this day, if I'm anxious to the point of having nightmares, they will almost certainly involve xenomorphs. Leprechaun and a few scenes from The Grudge. I'm the youngest by a lot and was babysat by my sisters growing up. I was probably 5, 7, probably closer to 5. Leprechaun truly scarred me lol. I was terrified for a hot minute. Luckily, I only had to see 20 minutes of The Grudge. If I hadn't, I probably would have needed to be committed. I'm not even joking lol. Beauty and the Beast. I had been living with an alcoholic family member as a kid and they always got angry. The Beast from the film triggered my fear of this person's screaming episodes, so I ran out of my room and never finished the film. I still won't watch it, even if this person got help and our relationship is developing into something better. Nothing traumatized me. I was born in 71. I was watching Watership Down, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang Child Snatcher. All the weirdness of children's TV back then. My poor sensitive 90s baby cried when the horse drowned in the never-ending story. I'm not making fun. It was an eye-opener. I felt so bad. The Elephant Man, I was for and supposed to be asleep on my mom's lap. I watched the whole movie pretending that I was still asleep. Now that I think of it, maybe she knew I was awake. HMN. As an adult, I think it is a heartbreaking and beautiful movie, but it definitely did a number on me as a kid. E.T. I was 6 when that movie came out and everyone told my mum to bring me. It was my first movie ever in a theater, and I absolutely hated it, the whole government trying to catch him thing. It ruined me for all movies like that. Hated Benji or any of those style movies. Still do to this day. Insidious. That jump scare was insane. Didn't stop me from immediately getting my sister to watch it. I'm waiting for that scene. She visibly jumped out of her seat. It was beautiful. I did the same thing with Blair Witch Project. The corner scene in the basement scarred her for life. The people under the stairs. The couple freaked me out, and while Roach was a good guy, he terrified me. And then it wasn't a movie. But that damn creepy cartoon Fraggle Rock shudders. I hate it to this day, and don't even like saying or seeing the name. Why? But it was a hard pass. The original RoboCop has a scene where they are killing Alex Murphy. It was worse than anything young me had ever seen. Worse than Dad hitting a caught fish with a rock, or cutting the throat of a shot deer. He just lay there being tortured and shot until the end. It was gross. One of the early Freddy movies. At some point there's a girl sitting in a recliner-type chair, and suddenly Freddy's hands come out from the space in the back where the cushions meet and pull. Hein. I wouldn't sit with my back to a couch or chair for months after I saw that. Bed knobs and broomsticks. Our family saw it at the drive-in when I was a little kid. Years later, when I told my mum how scary the movie was, she said that's because I caught you and your brother turning around and watching Death Wish on the other movie screen. The brave little toaster has that scene where living cars are crushed to death in the junkyard, and that fucked up clown dream sequence. As a kid, I used to cry when I saw car accidents because I thought the cars were dead, and I've never gotten over the fear of clowns. Poltergeist, feral and unmonitored access to HBO for an 8-year-old means Poltergeist created a ton of fears that still stick today. Clowns looking under my bed, swimming at night, braces, open closet doors, a tree outside my bedroom window. That's all a no from me. I was a sensitive kid, so unshipwrecked. Harry Potter, Tangled, the My Little Pony movie, and Maleficent. This was all ages 6-10, so kinda embarrassing, haha. My mum used to threaten me with putting a movie on if I wasn't listening, which scared me enough. Fire in the Sky. To an 11-year-old watching a movie based on part of the statement based on a true story might as well be left out or replaced with 100. After watching the adaptation of Travis Walton's abduction story, I could not sleep for a year. Ernest Scared Stupid. Something about that troll and the whole wooden doll thing just hurt me deeply. Had nightmares for years. In hindsight though, it's a hilariously bad trash movie with bad special effects and a wonderful cameo of Eartha Kitt. The Ice Cream Man. That movie terrified me and ruined strawberry ice for me for a long time. Very interesting that revisiting as an adult it was supposed to be a comedy horror, but when I first saw it I didn't remember any funny parts about it all.